Testing, testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. All right, everyone, we are live. Welcome everyone back to another Friday night live stream. Tonight we're going to be continuing on our process of this little frame that you see in the back here. Hopefully they can see that in the backdrop. Can they, Jessica? So we'll be continuing working on this sign bracket. Tonight we'll be pinning together the scrolls, doing some light welding heats. Really, it's more for beautification than anything. The pinning will hold the rivets on, will hold the scrolls on, but I'll go over that here in a little bit. And then we'll see how far we get into it, but we will also be giving away one 66-pound Chayo Anvil. We'll be giving one of those away in this stream, and 4 pairs of Tong, so Tong blank. So be sure to stick around and watch the whole stream, and we will be drawing those names at random out of the comment section down below. Of course, most of you that are already here, you already have heard this stuff time and time again. So welcome, welcome. Glad you guys have chosen to spend some portion of your Friday night with us. So how are you doing tonight, Jessica? And who do we have?
I am doing well this evening. We have about 98 people joining us, so just around the corner from 100 viewers. We have Tarvel's Forge from Colorado, Walt Perkhurst, Anthony Castor, Fencer's Forge, Armin Van Doms, Janetta Shire, Drayson's Forge, Rev Michael M, Mountain Critter Creations, to name a few. Greetings, everyone.
Greetings, everyone. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for all of your support. If you guys notice the little supporting list at the front, the sponsors, or which is you, the viewer out there, with all of your generous super chat donations and the likes. Thank you to everyone. Make sure you give them a round of applause down in the comment section down below. And someone changed this sign a couple times, so thank you for those super chats as well. And we'll take a couple of those, and then we'll get right into this project. So we got a lot to cover and only 2 hours-ish to do it in.
That was from Yamez, by the way, as a big smiley face. And I had to reload the comments there for a second. It froze up on me. Followed by Gordon Farmer, €1, and Clam Smasher, €2, who says, "Hey guys, loving the work you do, smiley face."
Awesome. Thank you all very much. Thank you for the super chats. Yamez, my brother, appreciate it. And Gordon, we love you too as well. Thank you for your continued support with the Euro and all that other stuff. And Clam Smasher. Awesome name. So anyway, so thank you all for the super chats. And that is a great way of not only turning the sign a different color, but getting your name at the front end of these live streams as a contributor and a supporter to these things. So the tongs tonight, they are provided by Couch Forge Company, so we thank you very much. They are Ken's Custom Iron Tongs. They're a pre-cut tong blank, and he sent a whole bunch of them there. Oh, I just had a little camera flick there. The thing just shut off and came back on.
Okay, we're still getting a feed.
Are we still getting a feed?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, so he sent me a boatload of those to give away over the course of the year, so we're going to be giving away 4 pair of them tonight. One of them is going to be a scrolling pair. The other is going to be a slot jaw tong, bolt jaw tong, and a flat jaw tong pair. So that's going to be pretty awesome. And we couldn't do this live stream without the great support that we get from the community. So thank you all very, very much. So let's jump right into it, right? Unless there's any questions or comments you need to take care of, right?
Ghost Forge backs you with the green super chat. He says, "Let's beat some steel."
All right, let's get after it. So let's go ahead and go to camera number 2, Jessica, and I'll show what we're doing. Now, I'm a little bit zoomed out from where we're at because I may have to shift the camera around, so I'm not going to be so close. Plus, I'll be doing a little bit of forge welding, so I want you to be able to see as much of the project as we're going, but some of the little smaller details, you'll just have to trust me with what I'm telling you here if you can't see them. All right, so this is our scroll work. I went ahead and made up the other little end bits, the other little scroll pieces. Hopefully they can see those fine. Yep. Jess, they look good? So I've already made those, and I made a video of me doing those on the channel, so you can check those out. And I have already laid out the holes. I don't know if they can see the holes or not. Yep. okay? I've already laid out the holes for this. Now, this is not how I would normally do this. Normally, I would drill one hole all the way through and rivet and pin that first, and then I would drill the second hole through the pieces and rivet and pin it. But for sake of time, I've drilled both holes. And the way that I did that is I first drilled the first hole, stuck the pin in it, then while it was still in there, center punched and marked out the second hole, and then drilled it. The caveat to doing it this way, we will have to make sure that the secondary pin is in place in this hole. Either a secondary pin or a bolt of some kind needs to be in this hole while we pin this one down. If you don't, the metal will expand as you're riveting this down, and those holes won't line up anymore. And you're going to have problems getting a rivet through there. So hopefully they can see that okay. Is that all right? Can they see that? Yep. This fine? All right. So that's one of the big keys here about lining up two riveted holes. If you're going to do it the way that I prefer, it's just drilling a hole, putting a rivet in it, peening it down, and then you drill your second, third, fourth, fifth hole, because it won't matter. By the time you get the second hole done in, this isn't going to move that much with successive pinning or putting rivets in. Not that much that you just can't go right on and power through the holes. So if you drill both holes, you do have to have something in one of the holes while you peen the other one down. So that's one of the things that you'll have to look at there. I've also prepped this scroll and made it ready for the rivet work to rivet it to the frame itself. So that's all set and ready to go. Hopefully you guys can see that rivet there going through. So that's where we're at. We're going to use the horn of the anvil here to go ahead and pin in our piece. I'm going to work on the piece that's up the furthest. I have seen people put a washer in here to set a spacing. I usually just balance it myself because I find that I can usually swell the rivet without having to concern myself too much with, where it's placed at, and then I can kind of just push it afterwards. So we're going to lightly peen this just to where it starts sticking. So that end's starting to swell up there good. Grab my piece here. Sorry. So we start getting a little more forceful with it. All right, now that I've got that starting to set, now I'm going to peen my second piece, my second rivet in place. I'm working fairly light right now with light blows because I'm just trying to kind of mushroom this just a little bit. And again, remember to kind of keep it balanced over where you're working. As these are going to be flush rivets in the final project, that means they'll be sanded, be filed flat after a little bit of forge welding on them. It's not too crucial whether the head's too much to one side or the other in this process. Just get it on there. And get it riveted down. All right, there we go. There's the first setup, and it's good to go. Any questions, Jess? Before we move on to the second one.
Yes, there's just a comment from Rob Huff who said it's kind of similar then to the riveting of or the pins and a hammer handle.
The pins and a hammer handle or a kniff? Yeah. Very, very similar to that, other than the fact that in a like a knife handle, you know, you're dealing with, you don't want the rivet to actually swell too much in the wood, because then you split wood or the actual handle material. So, you know, that's the only real big difference there. Here, you don't have to care about it too much, but yeah, you want to kind of pin it in and make sure all your holes, all your pins are in before you start peening on one. Otherwise, they'll all askew off, and then you're in big trouble. But yeah, this process is just, you know, taking your time. Now, one thing I didn't do is I didn't pre-anneal these rivets, so it's taken them a little bit to kind of swell up like I like them. You could do that before you cut them off. Go ahead and heat these up in the fire, bring them up to a nice bright yellow heat, and then let it cool naturally, and then cut off your little rivet pin stock. This happens to be 1/8 inch material, if anybody's wondering. This is 1/8 inch thick material. So we'll get that set up, and you can drop me any other comments or questions people have, if need be.
Yeah, we kind of had a flood of super chats there, but I didn't want to interrupt you. So let's see here. Rodney Hendrickson, he sent a super sticker that says, "Hey you." It's like the pair, dancing pair. Thank you, Rodney Hendrickson. Berserker Gang 2019 says, "Let's go berserk for Christ-centered blacksmith." Thank you, Berserker Gang. And Dwarvish sent a green super chat who said, "A small bit from the Dwarven Mint for the immensely helpful lessons." Smiley face.
Awesome. I'm glad they're helpful. This one I'm going to take, thank you all for the super chats. This one I'm going to take a little different approach. I'm going to work on peening this little end first before I get the bigger end done. Usually that's not the route I'd like to take, but it's closer to the scroll and I need to be able to get this set first. Again, if you've ever wanted to whack your finger real bad, this is a great time to do it. Having a little trouble with that pin. I'm having a reach issue with my hammer, so I'm going to stop there. And I'm going to get a smaller cross peen hammer to get in there so I can set that material down. I'm going to walk off just for a second, and you keep everybody entertained while I go grab my smaller cross peen.
All right, I will answer a couple of questions. Drones and Disc Golf says, "I feel like the railroad track would be better than the Harbor Freight cast anvil." Roy actually answers that in one of the blacksmithing questions of the days that is coming up probably this upcoming week. So yeah, just keep an eye out for that video. Let's see here. Good to have all of you guys. Fenrir Forge, Island Metal Forge, John E. Curtis. Someone asked what the rivets were made of. I think Roy answered that. Did you answer what the rivets were made out of, Roy?
I didn't hear anything you said because I was clear in the other room. I just asked it now. I did not understand anything. So, what are the rivets made out of? The rivets are just made out of mild steel. Am I on main cam or? Okay, am I on the main cam? You go to the second cam? Thank you. Oh. All right. Yeah, no, the rivets are just made out of a mild steel. Just a little mild steel rod. If this ends up giving you too much fits getting this down, which it just may very well do, the next option is to heat this up and give yourself a courtesy bend. And we may end up having to go down that route to get this pin in where I want it. Ideally, you wouldn't have to do this, but you would have something that get right where you need it to be. But it's better to give yourself that conveniency bend in that little bit of an out than to keep fighting it and it not go right for you. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to heat this up. I thought I drilled that out far enough where it wouldn't be interfered with that. We're going to heat that up, and we're going to give that a slight twist as a courtesy bend out of the way, and then we're going to finish painting that down. So let's get that hot.
All right, if we got a moment while that's heating up, I will continue with the super chats and then go on to some other questions as well.
Yeah, let's do that real quick.
All right.
Thank you all for the super chats, by the way. Thank you.
Okay, Yamez, thank you for the super sticker. It was a thinking face. Chewy, aka Reek Nicholas, says, "Hey, Roy and Jess, hope y'all are staying healthy, safe, and happy." We are. Yeah, just trying to stay busy at work and running a few errands here and there, limited as we can. Yep. Drones and Disc Golf says, "Keep it up," and he's got the workout pair doing some knee-high kicks.
He's got a workout what? Pair. A workout pair. Okay, a lot of super stickers, eh? Those are getting more and more popular, I guess.
Someone told me that the little thing I was calling a euro is a pound, so I'm going to try to remember that this time. It is a pound. Fencer's Forge, thank you for the light blue super chat. He says, "Love everything you do. Also, do you ship the tongs?" Yes, we do. We ship all the giveaway items. The Anvil, like is outlined down in the description below, you have to be in the 48 continental United States, and you have to be over 18. If you're not, then your guardian has to accept the prize on your behalf. And then our door prizes, which will be the tongs this time, those can go anywhere in the world. And of course, if you're under 18, you still have to have a guardian accept that for you. But any winners, all you'll have to do is go down in the description of the live stream, and it will tell you exactly how to contact us to get your prize shipped to you.
All right. So thank you all for the super chats. And yeah, just like Jessica said, all the information about the giveaways and stuff, they're all down in the description down below. She does a really good job putting up the dates, when we'll be going live next, things like that. You know, we get asked these things all the time, and Jessica does a really good job of putting those things down there. So make sure you use the description in every video we do as a resource. There's a lot of resources down in that description. So let's go back over to the Anvil, Jess. All right, so first things first, we're gonna go ahead and give ourselves, I almost hate to do it, but we're gonna give ourselves just a bit of a courtesy bend. Doesn't have to be much. We need it to be enough to get it out of our way. So this way we can get in at this rivet and set that thing down. All right, got that set down. We'll heat that scroll back up and we'll put it back in line. So just doing that little bit of a courtesy bend gets it out of our way just enough that we can get in at that rivet. Sometimes you have to do that. Kind of like, I hate when I have to, but it is what it is. So we'll get that hot one more time. This where I'll point out too, the good localized heat of a coal forge is really nice. If you do not have a coal forge and you're messing around with this in your home shop, using a torch or something of the lighter would be good. Having some sort of torch to get it back in line or to bend it a specific heat, twist it out of the way, twist it back, will really help you out in a big way. So something to look into for yourself if you're in the market for all of that jazz. All that jazz.
All right, while you're getting your stuff set up, yeah. Thomas Brighton, thank you for the $20 super chat. Also a $10 one from Tarvel's Forge. I was recently hired by a Colorado Renaissance Festival, so I'm finishing making some authentic riveted chainmail armor for my costume. I plan to be a man-at-arms, smiley face.
Awesome, cool. Congratulations on that. Let's go over to the Anvil, Jess. It's hot. Sorry guys, not trying to be insensitive or anything like that or non-attentive, but I gotta strike while the iron's hot.
Joel Sims asked, Roy, why did you decide on rivets instead of hot collars?
So usually, in general, from what I have studied with decorative ironwork, which may or may not be extensive, depending, the short time I've been studying decorative ironwork, usually collars are not used in this particular application for branching scrolls. Now, if you're talking about why did I choose rivets instead of collars to go to the frame itself, you're right on that. That is a stylistic choice. And basically, it takes time to make up the collars, and I didn't want to go through the extra mile. I felt that the riveted joint would be just as well. So there's the final piece already kind of all put together there. So now we just got to take a little small lightweight welding heat, if we can, on that piece and dress that in. Dress some of those seams in together with a little light welding heat just to make sure we close up any little gaps that we've got there. Again, the welding heat in this particular case is purely superficial. It's just to make sure everything's sitting together nicely and to give us a chance of sealing up any sort of like cracks or anything that looks like cracks on the edge. It's just a visual thing. The rivets themselves are holding the piece together. So we'll start with the end that's already hot and bring it up to welding heat. To answer, can I go answer the question again? So to answer that question more in depth, yeah, for the frame itself, attaching the scrolls to the frame, you most certainly could do collars. But the rivet, going through with a rivet is just as good. So you could do either or. A lot of times, collared work looks really nice if you have other collars next to it versus just 2 points. I just chose for this particular job to have the cleanliness of line and unbroken flow to have that rivet go through the piece. That way, when you're looking at the scroll, you're not inhibited by an actual collar set in place that's kind of stopping the flow of that scroll. Now, if I would have had, say, the scrolls coming out from both sides of where it connected at that collar, it would look better. It wouldn't interrupt the flow of the scroll work, so to speak, like what I'm doing here. So it's just a little more airy of a design or a lightweight type ironwork design, where collars, big heavy collars, they look good in certain circumstances, but in this particular case, I don't think they would have looked the best with the rest of the things I got on. So mostly stylistic choices. Hopefully that answered the question in depth enough of why I didn't do them. There isn't no good reason not to do collars, by the way. So if you want to do collars on yours, go ahead and do collars. Oh, really? I don't know about that. It's almost like when someone tells you that you're a true gentleman and a scholar. Huh? Oh, no, we've got a bit. You want to answer some questions?
Yes, I will. I certainly will. I know, as I wait, I was like, I don't want to blurt it out like right before you're like, oh, I was just about to hit this. So Elvis Guerrero, thank you for the yellow super chat. He says, hey there, Roy and Jess, Texas veteran Rebart here. Hope your family is safe and doing well during this crisis. Keep up the great work and God bless you both.
Yes, thank you. And yes, we are doing well. Thank you very much. Elvis Guerrero? Thank you, Elvis. Appreciate it.
Bar Run Forge sent us a $2 super chat. Says, God bless y'all. Praying his blessings.
Awesome. Bar Run Forge, God bless you too as well. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat.
And also, Doe Creek Forge sent a green super chat. Says, came across some wrought iron. Haven't forged anything metal like that yet. I need to know anything I need to know. FYI, it's 1/2 inch bar.
So I guess the only thing I could tell you without actually observing the wrought iron myself is wrought iron comes in several different grades. So, you know, really good fine grain wrought iron was used in like high tensile applications, where lower quality stuff was used in like fence pickets, fence posts, stuff that was non-essential kind of things that didn't need to carry a load or things like that. So they kind of selected their iron kind of like you would select your wood, right? Like you wouldn't use a soft wood like pine for a hammer handle. Likewise, you wouldn't use a fine grain wrought iron for something that's ambiguous, that's not really critical, right? Like, so, because while they were still perfecting making and manufacturing wrought iron, you know, you'll find some stuff where it'll have inclusions, or it might have a crack that runs all the way up the whole thing, and it just has to be re-welded and mended and worked with. So, you know, the bigger stuff, you might find really big stuff, big slabs of it sometimes if you get lucky. A lot of that stuff, it's porous, it's got inclusions in it, and you can even find a rock in it or two sometimes, you know. So some of the big stuff has to really be cut up and kind of reworked down and worked out. But other than that, it's an absolute dream to work with. I love it myself. And the last thing I would say is it likes to be worked hot, way hotter than mild steel. So as long as you keep it up at what would be considered welding temperature on mild steel, in color temp, that's that bright lemon yellow color, lemon yellow to white looking color. As long as you keep it up to that temp, you'll do okay. You'll be all right. But if you let it get down into the lower heats, it'll have a problem with splitting on you. Hopefully that helps. Congratulations on finding some wrought iron.
Let's see here. Also, Gordon Farmer, I'll get it right this time. The £1 super chat. Thank you very much. Also, Jeremy Harrison with the $10 super chat said, "Good evening, everyone. Hope all is doing well."
We are doing very well. Thank you. Thank you very much for the super chats. The £1 super chat. About time you get it right, girl. Horrible, horrible. Tell you, horrible.
I need to study up on my currencies or something, you know? And I ought to. With the kids, we did 2 years ago, we did like a exploring countries and cultures curriculum. And so it would have been cool if I had gotten just some different pieces of currency from all around the world to go along with the lessons. That would have been neat. Also, thank you, Fencers Forge, for the support, the $5 super chat, and says, "Smash that like button, y'all. Let's show these two amazing people some love." And yes, we're up to 194 viewers and 94 likes. So yes, yeah, if you guys are enjoying this so far, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. We'd appreciate that.
Sorry guys, got to monitor this. One of the big keys, thank you for the super chats, trying not to be unattentive here. Because of the way the scrollwork's coming together and where the weld is at, you have to be really careful of bringing this up to a welding heat, just because it can go horribly wrong. You end up melting off your fishtails just with a few moments of error. So, you know, the rest of the scroll's getting good and hot while you're bringing that joint up to welding heat. So you really got to pay attention to where the actual fishtails are in the fire. The other thing I do, since this is a coke forge, I've been learning, although on camera this looks like it's all one big burning pot, and it kind of is, there is a hot spot. And the way we can make a localized hot spot in a coal fire or a coke fire is to take a straight poker and poke it straight down next side the area that you want to get hotter than the rest of it. And what that does is that clears a path for there to be a hotter jet of air and flame come up through there. It's almost like a spot heat in a way. And you can help push more, get the coals in that area directly under where you just poked down in a lot hotter. So that's what I did on this when I put it in here. And so my fishtails are still in good shape. They're not burning up. but that area, that joint where I want it to be welded, again, I poked straight down next to it. That area is glowing nice and bright right now, but it's not quite at welding heat. It's just getting up there. I guess that could be considered a pro tip, huh?
Steven Stiles, thank you for the $5 super chat. So sorry I can't stay for the giveaway, but I did buy the Anvil because of your review. You can still send me the tongs if you want to, LOL.
No purchase necessary. Sorry. Thank you for the super chat. Sorry you can't stay, but thanks for dropping in anyhow. So, okay. This is getting really close. Not quite there, but we're getting there. It's so close. I'm not bring this up to much of a welding heat, so it's a good thing that's a superficial deal. Really optimally, if you're going to be forge welding on material like this, hopefully we're okay, we're looking here. If you're going to be forge welding scrolls, is to take and go ahead and do everything in the flat. If you've already worked out the lengths that you need, and if you can figure out exactly where on the curve that you're going to be pinning your stuff in, you could go back to using that solder method to find exactly where that's at, where you're going to be, putting those two pieces together at. If you can figure that out in advance, you can flat stack these before you scroll them up. Now, it'll make the scrolling work a little bit more difficult, but it will make the welding work worlds easier if you're going down that path. This here, like I said before, this is just more of a superficial weld. It's meant to just kind of close up a lot of the little gaps that you're seeing. It's really not a structural weld at all. That's what the pinning or the rivet work is doing for us. It's keeping that scroll attached to the frame. This is a decorative element at this point. And all the loads for our brace is taken in the main body of the scroll. So the main body of the scroll work down here, and here, that is where your main rigidity comes from. This out here is just mainly for looks. So we're getting close. I'm gonna hate to go much further than this, but I just don't want to burn away everything I got.
There's been a couple of people who have asked your preference of forging in a coal or coke fire versus a gas forge.
Preference of why I do, or do I prefer this more? Okay, I personally prefer coal. I like coal, a lot, green coal. I don't have a proper hood and chimney and system and all that, and I'm slowly converting to doing coke. So burning with coke because it's just cleaner to work with. I like solid fuel forges over gas or propane. I do have gas and propane, but I kind of just came up with this, and so this is what I like and this is what I know. So, all right, we are at heat. We need to come over here to the anvil, okay? All right. Okay, and here we go. Very low heat on that. We don't want to misshapen this scroll. Again, very superficial welding heat is all that is. So I'll have to come through and clean this up a little later on, but that got us pinned in where we need it. There you have it. So you might still see some crackage there, but I can't bring it up any hotter. I can file that down. It'll be all right. I don't want to burn up and lose our project over that. So not much of a weld. This one I'll be able to get a little bit more into the fire, so I'm hoping this will go a little bit better on the welding side of things to where I can clean that up a bit more. One other thing you can do, although it's not too common to see this happen, one other thing you can do, you can actually go through and you can braze this. You could braze this in if you want to get rid of that gap completely and then rescale it. So you can braze it in, and then you could then treat this so that way that line goes black or dark on it and it blends in with the rest of the material. But hopefully you can see that okay. Does that look all right? Yeah. See that? Like I said, not as clean of a weld as I want it to be right in that area, but again, it's fine, it's connected. We'll move on to the next piece. We'll let this cool down for a moment, then I'll cool it off in some water and move over to the next end. So set that off the side and let's give something away. How's that sound? How's everybody doing, Jess? And woot woot.
They're doing good. Yeah, there for a second, I was just asking if they were getting a smooth stream, because we did drop a few frames, but everybody's saying it's good now. So I think we're all good. Yeah, everybody's doing good. And smooth stream, everything's going okay? Yeah, everything's okay. Yep, it is. Steve Watkins, thank you for the green super chat, said Minion Smithy is in the house.
Thank you, Minion Smithy. So, I had a guy by the name of Possum Sausage, screen name here, send me this lovely rawhide mallet. So I just want to say thank you, Possum Sausage, for sending it, and the really nice note as well. Warms my heart to think that somebody would do that for me and actually send me this. This is a bit of deer hide, so that's going to be cool. Let's go to camera number 2, Jess. So this is a bit of deer hide, so it'll be interesting to see how that mallet holds up with the deer hide leather on there. And then he turned with his drill press down this nice handle here as well. Put my little insignia on there, which is awesome. And yeah, and then wrote down here, to Roy at Christ-Centered Ironworks, 4/4/2020. And let's see here, yeah. And so he wrote that on the bottom of the handle there. It's awesome. It will get a lot of use in my shop over doing the wooden mallet. I just want to show that off real quick because I'm proud of it. So thank you, thank you. Back to the main cam. All right. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and give away our first two pairs of tongs. What do you think, hon? Sound good? We'll give away 2 pair. We've been going long enough, huh? We could give away 2. Yeah. Yeah. See, my original plan was every other heat to give away something. Yeah. It was just too much, and I need to focus. So, yeah, so we're going to be giving away this pair. Again, these are pre-cut tongs by Ken's Custom Iron. You can bring it down to camera number 2. So these pairs of tongs, they're just rubber band together. They flip and go on top of one another. But these here are a pair of scrolling tongs. Those are the first ones that we're going to give away. And then the next pair will be the flat jaw tongs. And these flat jaw tongs, you can turn them into anything you want. That's what's great about them. You can turn them into bolt jaws if you wanted. You can turn them into just anything. You can draw these way out long, turn them into hammer tongs. You can do whatever you want, right, with these. So very versatile. As where these are also really handy for when you saw how I corrected the scroll. You can turn them into a pair of scrolling tongs, which is definitely super handy to have around. So let's go ahead and give away the scrolling pair first. And the rules have changed a little bit. We can go back up to the main screen. So, yeah. Okay, so the rules are changed a little bit. I want you to listen up. So, in order to win tonight, whether it be the Anvil or one of these 4 pairs of tongs, you need to come up with a catchphrase. It needs to be a phrase that you write in the comment section. So spamming me 12,000 times in a second isn't going to get you there. You have to come up with a unique phrase. So you have to, Jessica's going to be picking from the phrases tonight at random. So, ha, gotcha. I just lost like 50 subscribers right there, you know. They're like, I got to do a phrase.
We're at 219, so we'll see.
Yep. The bots are on like overload right now. Phrases? What does he mean by phrases? Ooka booka booka. Phrases. I'll probably be demonetized for the ooka booka booka comment. It does, doesn't it? It takes a little longer. Oh. Yep. So it has to be at least 3 words. There. It could be I love you. I love Lucy. You know, 4 words there, you know, it's just, yeah. Something like that. Anyways, are we ready?
Yes, we are.
All right, so start plugging in your phrases in the comment section down below, and we will go ahead and ring the anvil. And when I stop, Jessica's going to find out who wins it. So, all right, ready?
Yep.
Set, go. I got to give people time to write. The wrist is getting tired. Where will it stop? I don't know. Where will it stop? I don't know. Who we got?
All right, I landed on Handyman Ironworks, who said scrolling tongs are really cool. Thank you. That was more than 3 words. You did good.
Handman Ironworks, congratulations, buddy. And get us your address. And I do believe you're under the age of 18, so you got to make sure your mom and dad are like cool with it. So make sure they get in contact with us with your information. So thank you, Handman Ironworks, for being here and being a constant supporter. Congratulations. You know the deal. Get with us in the contact section. Young man. All right, we ready?
Yes.
How's that? We got a bunch of gripers.
The comments are hilarious.
Ooka booka, ooka booka booka, ooka booka. I almost want to just give these tongs to the ooka booka comment just for fun. It's great. Good luck finding it again. Do we got any gripers and complainers like, oh man, I gotta write more? No? Good. Good. I'm glad.
It's a little slower.
I'm glad. It's a little slower, a little easier for everybody. All right, see, I'm tripping them up. You know, next stream it might just be me again. We'll just let it be me's.
Maybe, I don't know.
Or maybe we'll have to come up with Superman or superhuman, like Marvel comic characters or something like that. People have to come up with something crazy. We might just do this on a regular. Make it funner. Make it more interesting.
Yeah.
How's that sound?
Best bad dad joke or something.
Best bad dad joke. There you go. That'll take them forever to write that out. There'll be like 12 comments to work off of. All right, let's give away these flat jaw tongs now. So I'm going to go ahead and ring the anvil, and when I stop, Jessica's going to pick one person at random with a catchphrase or just a phrase, like I said. Don't everybody just love the sound of an anvil ringing? There was a guy earlier, he said, I hate the sound of your anvil when you hit your anvil in a comment section earlier this week. I was like, somebody said, I think somebody had told him to turn off the volume and listen with his eyes then. I thought that was hilarious. That was pretty funny. Or I might have dreamt that in my head. Oh, there we go.
All right, we have Thomas Brighton, who says, beautiful tong blanks, well done. Well done, Ken's Forge.
Hey, Thomas Brighton, congratulations. I was waiting for her to stop talking before I could say congratulations. Yep, these are the flat jaw tongs. Thank you, Thomas. Thomas Brighton? Hey, congratulations. Get with us. Contact form in the description. We'll get them shipped out to you. Don't leave, everybody. Don't leave. There's a 66-pound anvil, I promise. It's a-coming. And there's also slot jaw tongs. We'll go over to the anvil cam. We also have a pair of slot jaw tongs. I've heard that these work really well for flat stock, things that have sharp, flat, and pointy in the name of them. And I also believe that everybody likes bolt jaw tongs. Those are really good for many purposes. So these right here, these are really nice tong blanks too from Ken's Custom Iron. He does a wonderful job on the pre-cut tongs. All right, sound good?
Yeah.
Everybody happy
Yeah.
so far? congratulations to those who win. Thank you to everyone who has been supporting us with the super chats. That goes a super long way with the shipping of all these things. So the anvils right now, they're ranging between $120 and $175, depending on the day, really, on these little 66-pound anvils and their availability. So, you know, all of this money that comes in, it helps go right back out and support and ship and do these things. So thank you all very much who are doing that. It really does help us out like a ton. It really does with the shipping and things. So sometimes the carrier will do free shipping, sometimes it's not. And yeah, so we just thank you all who are keeping this thing going, even with the pandemic and stuff going on and things like that. It's very helpful to be able to have such dedicated folks who are constantly doing that and supporting us. So thank you all. Make sure to give them a hand clap if you can, because again, this stuff isn't cheap. It's not cheap to do this, but we love to do it, and you, our community, are allowing us to do it and give vicariously through all of your donations and stuff. So we appreciate it very, 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 very much. All right, I need to stop running my mouth, pick my brain, and plop it back in here for a second. And I'm going to grab this piece here. It's cooled down enough that I'm going to go ahead and cool it off the rust away in the fire, in the water here. Yeah, that'll work. Everybody knows that's how you do it. Eventually I need to move my slack tub a lot closer. I don't want to right now because the slack tub is stainless steel and it just kind of doesn't fit the rustic backdrop that I've got going on to have this big, you know, stainless steel, you know, used to be nuclear barrel. It doesn't work very well for me to have that in the backdrop. It's just not as fitting. It is dirty. You thought about. All right, so we're going to put this next piece in here. We're going to bring that up to welding heat. If you notice how there's a lot more space in this deal, there's a lot more space, so it's a lot easier to get this portion in the welding fire and keep the scroll work out of it. So I'll be able to bring this up to just a little bit higher of a welding heat than what I was able to do with the other. So that will be very handy. So basically, it'll work out a little bit more like I had originally intentioned for things to work out. That's what I'm saying.
All right, we had a super chat a little bit back before the giveaway from LJP085, who said, hard to find an anvil where I live, kind of stuck with an anvil-less forge for now.
Well, that is a shame. Yeah, the anvils that you can get online right now, I really like the Achaio anvils. The Achaio anvils, the double horns, I like them for their cheapness, their accessibility when it comes to that. You can order them online, and like I said, depending on where you're at and where they'll ship them, sometimes you can get it with free shipping, you know. So I did find some Canadian options of anvils that you can get from Canada that'll ship from Canada, which you don't want to do to the US because they're like $389 to ship them. But you could buy them in Canada because the seller is in Canada of the Achaio anvils. And then I also found some anvils in Italy that are over in Europe somewhere, right around Italy, that are also selling the Achaio anvil. So those might be some resources that Jessica and I will look up and add to the review links and stuff. But those would be from international sellers, and you might be able to get them get that access to them a lot better in your home country. But if I were to try to buy them and then ship them to you, it would be like $900 for, they charge way up through the roof. It's crazy. Just to ship things out of country. You know, they got to put it on that cruise ship.
Daniel Crawford recommends that you could wrap it in barnwood, your quench tank.
Yes, I could. Oh. actually, and Daniel Crawford, sir, thank you so much for being here, by the way. I appreciate it. Daniel Crawford, if you don't know that young man, just fit and fiddle as he is a great supporter of this channel. We do appreciate him a lot. I do, personally. I've taken a personal liking to Mr. Crawford, so.
Ian, random question off the side there. Ian Simmons asked, have you ever cooked a hot dog over your coal forge?
Never hot dog over coal. I have cooked steaks and other stuff. When I did an internship with Tom Latney, Master Locksmith in Pepin, Wisconsin, I did, however, do we cooked brats and things over his charcoal fire, and that was tasty. Couldn't beat that. But no hot dogs.
Someone else asked if you had made your own charcoal before.
Nope, never made my own charcoal. Never felt the need to. I've always smithed in coal or coke. Generally, I've never had the need to make my own charcoal. Now, when I did do that internship with Tom, he did use a lot of green wood when it was just like regular forging projects, and then he used, he would scoop and put in some charcoal whenever we needed to bring up the heat of the fire, if it was like a larger piece or something like that. So technically that's making your own charcoal, but in the sense of literally gathering wood to kind of burn it and char it and turn it into actual charcoal, no, I haven't done that myself.
Gordon Farmer asked if you will be brass brushing the final sign bracket.
Probably won't. I probably won't be doing that. I might do some filing to highlight some edges, maybe a little light sanding on some edges just to give it a little extra pop. I used to brass brush everything, and about the time you figure out how to use a brass brush is about the same time that you overuse a brass brush. And so I have a brass brush that has lasted me years now because most of its use got out of the way in the first 2 years. Like everything was brass brush. Like it didn't matter. It was always going to be brass brush. Now I don't brass brush my work that much. I will only do it if a customer orders something like that, or if I feel that it's particularly fitting. I have thought, maybe not on this particular job, but I do want to get into gold leaf work at some point in time on my ironwork. That's something I haven't done or even experimented or had a chance to play with. So I'll probably have to go take a class from somebody who really knows what the heck they're doing when it comes to gold leaf, and then just apply that to ironwork at some point in time. That's something I would really like to do, but I'm sure once you learn how to do that, everything gets the gold leaf. Everything's golden for a while until you realize that you ran out of money, and you've run out of money, or that not every single item that you produce needs gold leaf on it. Similar to the brass brushes experience. Great questions. Any more? Yep. I'm not really cranking this right now because I want it to come up to heat slowly. I don't want to roast off, like I said, those fishtails. I want it to come up to heat, and when it's at that nice light welding heat, I'm going to come in there and just tap it together, and that's it, and we'll give it a good brushing. One thing to note is when you're putting it in there and you shift it around, as that's coming up to welding heat, that curvature of that scroll, since it's thin, it's going to droop and it's going to do some stuff to you. So you will have to kind of just tweak with it and play with it a little bit after it does. You do get it forge welded together or pinned or anything like this. When you're heating it, it'll have a tendency to droop on you, and so you'll have to get that back in line and adjust it to fit your framework. This is the time where you're going to have a lot of little adjustments, little micro adjustments. You might throw the scrolling forks on it and just tweak it just a little bit, or you might bend something up a little bit to get it in line where it needs to be. And you just have to go a little bit slower, methodical about it. This isn't where you can just slam out a lot of ironwork all at once. This is the kind of finishing steps, getting close to the finishing steps. So anyways. We are almost there. We're coming up. Any questions or comments that I need to address?
Yeah, pretty quiet. Our last two super chats, one had been from Yamez, who said that he, no problem, glad to do it, love you guys. And that was followed by Baby Daddy IOD, who says, I use a railroad for an anvil and a fire pit forge.
Cool. You got to start somewhere. And thank you, Yamez. Appreciate it. Oh, thank you both for the super chats. We are almost there. Ah, so close. Oh, so close.
Let's see if you got time for a short question. Have you ever used brass black?
Yep, I have. I've used brass black before. Gun blue, brass black, birchwood, Casey's, plum brown. You know, I've used several different types of chemical patinas when it comes to that. Really just depends on what application you're going for. None of that has ever been on iron, though. I've used the brass black and stuff, and like the gun brown, the plum brown stuff. I've used that on copper work, patining, getting different patinas on copper. So, all right, this is there, Jess. So let's go to camera number 2. All right. Just helps mend those surfaces together. If I didn't put too much flats in it. Got just a little flat started there. Hopefully that'll work out okay. Again, this is just the time to be cautionary with it. Be cautious. Don't overdo everything. Take each step, one little step at a time. And on something like this, you could very easily just avoid this step, by the way. You know, this is something that you don't necessarily have to forge weld. Now, I've got a flat going there that I don't like. I need to get rid of that flat on that piece. And the reason why that's flat in there is this here is kinked a little bit. It's squatted in this way a little bit, so I need to take it out a little bit and then adjust that a bit more, and that'll look a little bit better. Like I said, this is an additional step that, depending on where you're at, even in skill level wise, you may or may want to not take this step in doing this little extra. The risk may not be worth the reward or the payoff of getting those extra little seams just kind of closed in on the joint. The reason why I'm doing this is to prevent moisture or water, since this will be an outdoor bracket, from finding its way in between those two surfaces. So if you can create a welded plane, even if it's a superficially welded plane, it's better than having a gap in between those two where water can run and eventually rot those out. And, you know, if you can get the piece hot enough, if you can get the scrollwork hot enough in that area, you can take a pretty good weld. This is a very light weld. This is a very low temperature weld at it, but just squeezing out any of that debris or anything in that joint to where, you know, it can corrode in between those pieces, and you'll end up having a piece fall off at a later date. Because, like it or not, you say, well, Roy, I'm going to paint it, so shouldn't that seal it? Eventually your paint will chip or it'll crack or it'll fall off and then it'll get in there. You know, even when you paint a surface, it's very hard to get everything fully painted unless you're like dipping this thing, like doing a hot dip galvanized finish or something. It's going to be very difficult for you to get into every little pore with paint. So just taking a little welding pass on it is enough to close it up and help it in the future. And if you can get it high enough of welding heat, you can actually blend it in a lot better and make it look perfectly smooth. Something to keep in mind here, a lot of architectural iron and things, if you notice, a lot of architectural smiths kind of get away with what would be considered a travesty in something smaller work or more refined, tinier little projects, because it's meant to be viewed at scale, right? Like when you go walk by a large gate, say a big old 16-foot driveway gate that's 12 foot tall and it's guarding a basilica somewhere, you're not going up to it and looking at every little detail and trying to find out where every single little weld or every single little rivet or pin or plugged hole that somebody's got in that gate. You're looking at it as a whole. It's a big picture sort of thing. So you can get caught real up on the details. Again, this sign is going to be hanging 8 to 10 feet up in the air. 8 and 10 feet up in the air. It's going to have a sign on it. You're going to notice, hey, that's a pretty sign. Ooh, that has some little scroll work there. That's pretty neat. Wow. And then you're going to keep walking, right? Or something like that. You're not going to get that opportunity to walk right up and see this little tiny hairline crack where it didn't completely, you didn't blend off all the welds. So again, the risk of what I'm doing here may not necessarily be worth the reward. You can just pin it together like that and hope the paint will cover in between the gaps. But if you can take it up to the light welding heat, it will help preserve the piece longer term by not allowing decay to happen between the pieces, oxidization and stuff. Any questions? I mean, you guys little nuggets here. I mean, these are nuggets of truth.
Well, Doe Creek supported you with $2 towards your Roy rant. That's what he says. And there was also a question from the Fencer's Forge along with his green super chat. He says, Roy, what type of steel would you recommend to make tongs out of?
In generally, just mild steel. Somebody had told me that a while ago that tongs should be made out of, it's like an 80-36 or something or another. I'll have to look up the steel before I can. It's like 80-60 or something like that. I can't remember what it was exactly, so I'm not even going to mention it. You can do them out of some 1045, or you do them out of a carbon steel of some sort, 1030, something like that. I personally just think just regular 1018 or mild steel will work out pretty good. A36, something in that nature. I don't personally believe that you have to have really high carbon steel tongs. Now, one caveat to that, scrolling tongs are nicer when they're made from high carbon steel because they have a less tendency to bend or torque on you and twist when they're gripping hot metal. So let's go over the anvil, Jess. So I've got a pair of bending forks in the anvil, and now I'm going to go ahead and give this its kind of shape, take some of that flat out of it. There we go. Basically what I'm doing is I'm using the bending fork itself to support the work, so I can look at it direct on and make sure I get that flat out of there, so I can hold certain parts of this as I work on it. Always support your work if you can. Make sure it's sitting down on something when you're brushing it to get your scale off of it. Sometimes a bending fork helps in this operation because you can grip it and get that work supported just right as you brush. As long as you're not bending it too much out of the ordinary. Make sure all that's in line. Decent. There's a little bit of it, the toe there. Beat that down to its in line. I think that's good. I think this has been up too much, but we're going to check it against our drawing. So the mallet works good. All right, I want to check this against our drawing real quick. Can everybody see this, Jess? Yeah, we're pretty close. That needs to come in a bit more. And then I can keep working on the little fiddly bits here. Not bad. Yeah, that's fitting pretty good. Again, it's got to come this way just a fuzz more. I think that'll have that in line. When you're making something to a drawing, get prepared to do this a lot. All right, it's pretty close to it. Hopefully you can see that okay. How's it look? Look good? All right. All right, there you have it. If I can show that off the camera, grab these tongs here. I think.
Yeah, I like it.
Look good?
Yeah, looks like you got all the curvatures back in it.
There we have it. Go down to the secondary camera. Can they see that okay? Look good? Now, say you wanted to spice this scroll work up even more. You could actually put, grab Mr. Thing here, you could put some splitting off scrolls in here into the piece. As long as it doesn't wreck the flow, you could come in here and have scrolls that are coming out in here, or have a double C scroll in here, if that makes sense. So you could fill in this big spiral if you wanted to make this look a little bit heavier or a little more whimsical. You could do that. I like the negative space that you're looking at here. I like the airiness of this here over having this completely filled in, but that is certainly an option. You could fill this with all sorts of scrolls if you'd like, you know, to make it even more ornate if you want. Sometimes less is more, sometimes more is more. Ha-ha! Sometimes more is more. All right, everything's square, everything's looking good. I'm happy with it. Now I can go ahead and set this off the side to cool. And after it's cooled down just a fuzz, I will cool it off fully in water. And we'll give away another pair of tongs or two, huh? What do you think?
We also had 2 super chats also.
Two super chats. Okay, let's do those.
We did 2 yellows. Actually, both of them were yellow. 2 yellows.
Come on, guys. We gotta get creative here. Gotta get creative. More colors. There's more colors.
Like, go through every color of the range. All right. Jim Okers said, really enjoy your live streams, Roy. Thank you.
Jim, thank you. Thank you for being here. I'm glad you're enjoying them.
And the other was from Hans, Charming Hollow Forge, says, as much of my stimulus as I can share, thank you for all you do, Roy.
Hans, you are awesome, brother. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Don't go spending too much stimulus money with me, so you gotta take care of that family of yours. That's number one, most important.
Let's see, there was, it was brought up a couple times again about your collar versus why you chose not against collaring, if you could recap on that.
Okay, yeah, so I'll recap on it. The reason why I chose not to collar on this particular piece was for simplicity and because it breaks up the flow of the scroll. If there was additional scroll work, and maybe I should pull this up from the back side here, that would help out, eh? Pull this from the back here, that way I can instruct. That is what I'm here to do, after all. Class is in session. Now listen to the teacher. This is about the time everybody starts breaking out the bubble gum, huh? Can they see okay? Yeah. Everything's all right? It's not got a weird glare or anything, look good? I have to keep asking because there's only like a 2-inch, there's like a 2-inch screen about 8 feet away from me here to look at. So hold it right here, it's good? Okay. If there was going to be, hopefully I'm not scrunching that too much. If there was going to be additional scroll work here, or additional scroll work here, a collar would be appropriate to where you're attaching it. Here is just going to be a rivet. It's going to be a rivet attachment point here. So it wouldn't make sense here for a collar. Now, say this was a fireplace crane, that would make a lot of sense to do collars in that place, right? Because this is going to be mounted on, and this is going to swing, and you could do a collar there certainly. But here on this project, it's not going to be appropriate. So putting one collar here won't look very good. It breaks up the flow of the scroll. So if you're doing scroll work where you're trying to keep flow, the biggest rule in scroll work is, one, it needs to look like a scroll. So you don't want it to have a bunch of flats in it. We went over that in the last live stream. It needs to look like a scroll. In all scroll work, or I should say the majority of good scroll work, has a determinate end and a beginning. So you can determine exactly where the scroll started or where it originated from and where it ends at. It has a definitive end, if you will. So here, the scroll work originates at the corner of the piece. So it's branching from the corner of the piece. That is the flow in this scroll work here. If you put a thing in like a collar, it stops the flow of this piece. It's kind of start and stop. There's nothing here. It just flows into a collar. Here flows into a regular scroll, and then this is branching out the other side. And maybe my next project that I do, I will incorporate for the live streams, I'll incorporate some collar work so you can see kind of the difference, and we can have a kind of a difference look here. So this is purely an artistic, it's purely an artistic judgment call. A collar would work just fine in this particular situation, but you would still have a rivet right here, and to me that would look weird. It would look weird to have a collar, just a random collar sitting here without any other things along this line here to break up the line or the pattern or the flow of the piece. So I wanted to have a really nice, smooth, clean flow to the piece versus having the collars. There's a right place and, in my own personal taste, a wrong place to put collars. But that is, again, that is a bit subjective. You know, you ask 50 different smiths, they're going to tell you 50 different ways how they would prefer it to look or do. So the collar in this particular case would not add anything to the piece. The rivet, however, doing the rivet heads, it's clear, it's logical that, hey, there's a rivet there holding this piece to here. It's logical. It just makes sense to have this riveted to the frame, as where a collar, you would only have one collar. Maybe two if you put it here. But you're not juncturing anywhere else with a collar. So you would just have one straight collar and one that looks crooked, because by nature it would be collared here. Again, it interrupts the flow of the piece. Does that answer that good? Is that a good recap? Is people finding that valuable? Okay, I can move on. I am more than happy. By the way, do not be afraid to ask those questions. I mean, that's what we're here for. I will tell you to the best of my abilities why I'm doing things a certain way in the way that we're doing stuff here. Again, guys who probably, some master smith over in England right now is rolling right now on the floor, laughing his patuckus off because he's been classically trained as an architectural ironsmith, and I'm probably speaking out the left side of my face according to them. So again, it's an artistic choice in my point. So there's no real right or wrong reason there. It's just a flow reason. I believe that it looks cleaner and simpler. So. Good? Yes. Thank you for the orange super chat.
Before that one, we had a upside down smiley face emoji from Yamez. It turned red again, Yamez. I'm sorry, it just doesn't like you. I told it last time we figured out it's just when he sends super stickers it turns red. If he does regular super chat, it'll turn blue. Just him and super stickers. So, yep, you're special, Yamez. And then the orange one was from, maybe I can pronounce this correctly, Wakuli. For $20, says, amazing work as always, folks. Thank you for all you do, and God bless.
God bless you. Thank you so much. Is it Ahuli? Ahuli? Wahuli? Well, thank you. Hopefully that's the proper name. Yamez, thank you, brother. Appreciate it. So that brings us to our next point. Let's give away some tongs, huh?
One other one, let me squeeze this one in here. Thank you, Joel Sims, for the $2 super chat as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh. Yes, they're seagulls. They're coming. It's like the birds, but the seagulls. Yeah, don't ever have French fries on a sunny day with seagulls. They get you. All right, let's go to the secondary cam real quick. So these are the two different types of tongs we're going to be giving away. We'll be giving away the slot jaws first, and then we'll be giving away the bolt jaw tongs right after that. Sound good? And how far are we right now?
We are at
6:19. Were you on my mic or not? Am I talking? Okay. I was saying originally, I saw you switch it over there real quick. That was the camera or what you're doing? Don't know.
Just the camera. Yeah.
Just the camera. Oh, okay. Because I was busy looking off the side.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We can go back to the main cam. We'll switch it back. Yeah. How many people we have in the stream?
We are at 234.
Cool. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for the support. We appreciate that. So we'll go ahead and give away these next two pairs of tongs. And how long have we been streaming for?
We have been streaming for a total of 1 hour and 22 minutes and 24 seconds.
That's very specific. All right, that's good. I'm just asking because I'm gauging how far I want to go with this project at this point. We've got those pinned and riveted together. I may go through the efforts and actually drill out the attachment points and go further with this, but that might run further than what the stream's going. So I may pull in an alternate and do some forging on a different type of fluted scroll that maybe people can do and do that. So maybe that is what we'll do for the rest of the evening, because I may not be able to get the rest of it with the giveaways and stuff within the time remaining. So we'll see. We'll let you guys decide, the audience. Yeah, if you want to be left on a cliffhanger or not. So, and thank you for the super chat that just happened behind my head. Boom. There's a delay. There's a delay. Super sticker. All right, let's give away these slot jaws. Let's do that, all right? All right, we'll break out the big hammer. Now I'm definitely going to get tired out using the big hammer here. All right, first for the slot jaws, got to put in a phrase. and go.
And, all right, we landed on Jeff Odegaard, who says, my 10-year-old would love some tongs.
Hey, hey. Well, Jeff Odegaard, congratulations. You get some tongs. Get with us in the contact section down below, and we'll send you these slot jaw tongs. Congratulations. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I feel like a mighty man wearing my apron.
Yeah, that looks like a proud pose.
It is. It's a mighty proud pose. I'll pick up this light hammer now. Just so I'm extra manly. All right, now ready, set, go. Is that enough? You think they're done writing? All right.
All right, this one is Dean F12, who says, got a hammer all the time.
Got a hammer all the time. Congratulations, Dean F12. Congratulations, you are the winner of the bolt jaw tong. So hit us up with the contact link down in the description down below, and we will get these shipped out to you pronto. Thank you all. And thank you for everybody who has attended. See, watch, I'm saying that and everyone's going to jump off. Anybody who's listening in their earbuds right now, they're gone. Yeah, no. And they'll miss out on the Anvil. I saved the best for last, right? Do the Anvil and save it for last. That way I get all the watch time from you, ladies and gentlemen. Can't beat that. I'm working the algorithms, working the system.
Let's see here. We got a couple more super chats that came in. Doe Creek Forge sent a green super chat 10 minutes ago who says, I know you're not big on knives, but how about a camp axe?
Camp axe. Well, that would be very interesting. Have no advertisement. I have no aversion against, you know, axes and such like that. I'll eventually make one of those things, but in a little different way. Not necessarily, I'm more interested in the pretty things, so more like the Norwegian kind of stuff. That I like those type axes, Norse type stuff, over just your standard axes, like a trade axe or something of the like. So getting that all squared up, that's looking pretty good. So that looks pretty good. I'm happy with it for what it is. It could be better, and it could be a heck of a lot worse. So I'll take it. I'll take it with what it is. All right. Next section. Has anybody said what they're thinking yet? What they prefer? Thank you.
Yes.
Do greatly appreciate you. Let's do this.
Yes, there was some comments along the lines of it's looking very nice, and they like how your projects turn out so far. Also, Derek Giuliano, thank you for the $2 super chat. He says, who or what inspired you to get into smithing?
I wouldn't say anybody inspired me directly, other than the fact that I went to Carriage Hill Metro Park as a kid, and they kind of had a historical blacksmith, somebody who's representing what blacksmithing was or did do, and that kind of got me my first exposure to blacksmiths, and I found that was very interesting as a kid. And then so I would say probably my biggest inspiration for getting into it is we went back to Carriage Hill when we first got married, Jess and I, 13 years ago now, coming up on, about 13 years ago. And yeah, pestered her for months, and she got me my first coal forge. So yeah, so I guess you can blame it on her. You can blame it on Jessica. Darn that wily woman. There, that's what it's looking like so far. Nice. From the side. Look good?
Yeah, it's really good.
It's not quite there yet. Look good? do you think?
Looks real good. I like it.
It's really good.
Yeah. Baby daddy says looks great.
His name's hilarious. Love it. Oh. So now, and there's always tweaking you may find yourself wanting to do after you get this going. So like right now looking at it, this scroll here needs to scroll a bit more. It needs to come up and reach this bar a little bit better. It needs to come a little closer for this to be all lined up where I want it. I wanted this originally resting on here, so I might have to roll this a bit more, heat it up. I don't know, can they see that over there? Is it fine on that? Oh, you probably really can't see it there, huh? I need to probably brighten up. Yeah, it tops. So let's go to the main cam. That's probably a better place to show it off. Can they see that better? Okay. So yeah, I may want to take and bend that back in a little bit so this way it can get in there. But before I can do any more adjustments on the scroll here, I actually need to get this arm here riveted to the back plate. Now, in preparation for all of this, I've already went ahead and in our previous streams, I've made up the back plate. I've punched the square hole, the tenon for this, the mortise point for the tenon, and then I have also drilled the anchoring points for this. So that's all done. So it's not going to be a hassle for me to have to put that together, so to speak. I will drill and rivet, like I said, drill and rivet this thing and get it together. After I have this on here in square, I can make whatever other marks or adjustments and clamp or do whatever I need to do with this piece here once this arm is set in stone, if that makes sense. Then all I have to do is drill 1 hole, 2 holes, and then rivet this thing on, and then that whole thing will be riveted together and there will be nothing left to do but the eyelets. When I do this type of work, there's, I kind of want to put disclaimers out there. I'm careful of how I put out the disclaimers when I'm doing this type of work, just for a couple reasons, because sometimes it can be misinterpreted as making excuses for sloppy ironwork, and I do not like making excuses for sloppy ironwork because that's not what I produce for my customers. But when you're doing in a live video format like what we're doing here, it is very difficult to be very slow and methodical about your work like I like to be. It just gets boring. It's very, very, very boring for people to watch. Me just take an hour fitting and fidgeting and fiddling and those sort of things. People like seeing stuff being given away. You like seeing bright, hot flames. You like seeing work getting accomplished and done. What you don't appreciate seeing is watching me file stuff for an hour, right? Or scrub things with a scrub brush, and like you don't care to see that process, or most people don't or won't stick around for it. So it's very difficult and not necessarily a good representation of good ironwork when you have to do things live. Because some things ultimately you have to cut corners on in order to showcase the process as a whole and not get too bogged down into the little fine finishing bits. And I don't particularly enjoy doing that myself, but I mean, I would like to take like about an hour and get this thing fully set up and perfectly square and everything to my liking and to my standards. But for live stream format, that doesn't always tend to pan out or work out the best. So I'm gonna move the secondary camera real quick, Jess, to try to shine on the vise, because I'm gonna go ahead and put this arm in place, okay? And we're gonna get this end hot, and we're going to peen that in hot. So we'll get it good and hot, and then we'll peen it in right where it needs to be into the back plate. So we will work on that. You can go on.
Okay. All right. Maria's right over there getting that adjusted. Let's see here. Okay. Thank you, Yamez, for the $1 super chat. That was a little bit ago. And Rob Huff, the smiley face super sticker. Aimless Adventure, thank you for the yellow super chat, says, can't stay, be well. Love, peace, and chicken grease.
Love, peace, and chicken grease. Oh, thank you very much for the super stickers and super chats. It's greatly appreciated. Go ahead and adjust a few things.
Also, Rob Huff, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, hearts and health and shipping offset funds. Winky face. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob Huff. Thank you for being here, and I hope you have a great evening if you're taking off. Gotta make sure this is still in focus here. Give me a second. Yeah, perfectly in focus.
Also, Daryl Kelly, the 2 pound, I was almost gonna say you're again, 2 pound. Thank you for the step-by-step leaf video. Yeah, Roy has quite a few of those. I think I even have them in a playlist, so.
Very welcome.
Toby Joe sent 500 Filipino pesos. He says, looking good so far, Roy.
Awesome. Thank you, Tobio, for the Filipino pesos. Thank you for being part of the community and a regular supporter of ours. All right. We will get this hot. This won't take too long to get good and hot. One thing I did off camera here, I don't know if you guys can see that. Can they even see the vise over here? Can they see the vise? One thing I was doing is I was pre-setting up my jaws to the correct spacing so I don't have to waste any time when I come out of the fire in order to peen this piece together. So that's crucial. So thank you everybody for the super chats. God bless each and every last one of you. Thank you for everyone who's been hanging around to watch this project and this process. Again, it gives me a good excuse to do these sort of things on camera and have a little bit of fun. So thank you all. Thank you very much. All right, that's good and hot. All right, we ready? Let's go over to camera number 2, Jess. Okay. All right, I'm going to take note of which way I want this to look. Make sure the way that it's going to be pointing down is pointing down. Tighten that right down in there. Looks good. That on there. Do, 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 do. All right, let's got that together. As I've said in my other video, you may find need, that's riveted on there good and tight. As you can see, that's a good juncture. You may find the need to twist or adjust this to get everything in line. Again, that is part of this process. So you will have to sight down the piece. I'm gonna step around here while you guys are looking at it. We'll have to sight down the piece and see how it's looking. And you will have to adjust the squareness of this. And take your time with this process. Again, this is where that finicky stuff comes in of what sets your work apart, is when you start checking for squareness and you're not just throwing ironwork together. It takes a while to create good ironwork. A lot longer than a pop song on YouTube plays out. So a lot of times we forget in YouTube land that things take so much longer. So now I'm going to check the squareness here. I like it. There's a little better. I'll have to actually break out a framing square. I didn't bring one with me. I didn't expect we'd get this far.
You want me to go grab one?
No, I can go get it if you want to answer some questions or ask some questions, or anybody's got any questions. So trying to find a way of setting this up to where I can show people me checking it with a square. I'll lock it that way. Answer some questions for me real quick, or bring those up. You might have to talk fairly loud so I can hear you. I'll be right back. I just got to grab that square.
All right. Yes, I settled over the forge now. I moved the camera, and that way you guys could see Roy when we're on the main cam working over there at the vise, and his head wasn't cut off, So, let's see here. Jacob Robinson asked, do you know any good sources for a good leg vise? I've been looking for some with no luck. Roy got the one he has here as a gift from a guy in Ohio named Bob Cruikshank, who kind of buys and sells tools. He's an older gentleman. I'm not sure how much he's doing of that now. He takes some of his tools and stuff to sell at Quad State. Roy also found a leg vise at a flea market. So we've seen several at flea markets before. So if you have any of those around you, that would be a great place to look for one.
Boom. They're square. Oh, they couldn't even see it. Dag nab.
It's already.
Can they even see that now? Dag. I really hate that. Okay, trust me, it's square. I can't do it with the vise. I'm trying, ladies and gents. I am trying. So it's square in that direction. Now we got to check for square in the opposite direction. I need to check to make sure that it's square left and right. That will be a little bit more of a trick to do. Sometimes you just have to eyeball that bit because there is a bit of a pucker here on the piece. I'm just looking for general gap on both sides, the bottom end of this joint, and that's square in that direction. So good. So that's mounted nice and square. There we have it. That's connected. What do you think? Show off that end. They see that really good? See how that interrelated? Again, if this was a round, you wouldn't be able to twist it. It might spin on you and do stuff after you get it riveted here. It's kind of hard to correct that square. As this piece cools down too, when you've riveted it like this, or when you've tenoned it, it squeezes tighter. So that joint, when you're doing it hot fitting like this and getting it adjusted, you really are on a bit of a timeline to make sure everything's kind of square and dressed up appropriately. So this way you can stop fiddling with it, because if you keep fiddling with it and adjusting it for square as it's continuing to cool down, what'll end up happening is it'll get loose on you, and then you'll have to retighten your rivet, and it might knock out all your squareness again. So you can end up fighting it. So while it's still got heat in it, black heat and up, probably like red heat to black heat, that's where you want to do all your major adjustments and things to it. But that's together. So now we go back to main cam. And now that that's locked in stone, we're working good. Now we can see how this looks going together. Put that together like that, like so. There you have it, hun. What do you think?
Yeah, I love that. It's looking awesome. Can't wait for it to be done.
Yeah. So now all it is getting it drilled out in the right locations and making that happen. So all that is together. Good time to step back and take a look at what you've made. What's everybody think? Can they even see it? Is it good?
Yeah, right there where you're standing behind it. Yeah, that highlights it even better.
Alfred Drago says looks great. It's really coming good. Ginger B says looking real good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I say we let it cool down. That is for certain. Yeah, it is good. We will let it cool down, and then maybe take the extra time, I don't know what time we're getting on, and get it riveted to the frame, and that way that portion of the bracket is completely done. And the only thing I'll have to do then is all the cleanup work in the finished photo of it on Instagram. So if you don't follow us on Instagram, you should be following us on Instagram. Scroll check. I wanted to make sure that was together. That's what that was. You're quiet over there. Too quiet.
Yes, they do. There was like 90 comments of that it was looking really good. So I know I was answering Mike G. All right, I'll try to. I know I'm getting absorbed. Yes, I know. Well, there's 228 people in the live stream. You're asking what time it is. It is right around 6:40. And Yamez, you had sent the green super chat that says live streams are for entertaining, teaching if possible, but mainly we do them to entertain and connect with the community.
Yes. Very difficult to teach in a live stream. For anybody who's ever tried to instruct in a live stream, do forge welding in a live stream, scroll work in a live stream, that's not as easy as it looks to do that. Don't want to toot my own horn, but toot-tee toot, 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 toot.
And also, thank you, Josias Gutierrez. I'm sorry, you probably didn't get your name very well said there, but he sent the pair super sticker that says, "Hey you."
Hey you. Thank you. Thank you for the super stickers and all the super chats. Greatly appreciate it. So let me move this.
Well, you guys are using up all the hashtags here.
Stay here because I'm going to be doing my drilling out work here. So I'm going to leave the secondary camera there. I will talk a little bit briefly about the scroll bar that I'm working on. Now, I'll say this about going back to earlier about the live streams are for entertainment that Yamez has said, and it's sometimes teaching, but it's mostly entertainment. For me, it's all about teaching. That is what I want it to be about, is the educational side of it. But unfortunately, we live in a world with people who have gnats mindsets when it comes to attention spans around the teaching sometimes. And so therefore, it's very hard to get that, to get the full instruction out there that maybe I want to put out there. And so that's kind of difficult. So there has to be a mix of both. You have to try to put out the teaching. The people who want to learn, they'll pick up a lot of things from you. And the people who just want to see you whack on some stuff, they'll pick up very little from you, but they'll at least be there, right? So you kind of get a mix of everyone in different levels too. There's guys who come to the stream here that don't need my assistance to tell them how to forge at all. They already got it. They've probably learned from better people than me, right? So, and then there's plenty of people who are just completely green at the craft, and something like this isn't even on your docket in the next 2 or 3 years yet. So, again, there's that whole range of people, and sometimes that makes it difficult to know what to teach too in a stream. So it does have to be a balance of teaching and entertainment. But on the teaching note of things, this here, I made up this. There will be a video out later on this week, probably next week or something. This is a scroll bucking bar, or a Z bar, or you can call it a rivet bar, whatever you like to do. But basically, I don't know if they can see this okay. Maybe I should go over to the vise. What do you think? Let's go over to the vise so I can get a little more thing on it. You guys can see there, it basically backs up the head of your rivets, if you will, while you peen them from the top side, or you get them set from the top end of the piece. And then the other end here is just a flat end to get in between scroll work in order to do your pinning and your riveting. I didn't use it in this stream because I found that the scrolls were just big enough that I could get them on the horn of the anvil. But if you say you have a really thick horn on your anvil and you can't get in between scrolls and the like that, and you don't want to do a courtesy bend, this is the way to go, because this will get a real narrow profile to be able to get in between the scroll work and hold it. So yeah, I learned about these from Clay Spencer. He had one that he showed me when I was making a little garden gate in his traditional joinery class, and then I've been needing to make one ever since. So I ended up making that. That is just out of a piece of regular 1018 steel. So that's some 1018 steel, mild carbon steel out of that. Not heat treated or anything like that, just thinned out and bent. Again, you'll get to see that in an upcoming video. So we can go back to main screen. But I just want to show you that as an alternate. That's another thing that you can lock in the vise. You can be using this set on a table and clamp to a heavy workbench, and be able to rivet up your stuff that way, and use this to get in between scroll work and things like that. Again, to back support your work. And that's basically what these are meant to do. So, just a handy little tool, doesn't take you real long, and the only big difference with it is you want to make sure that you work with something that's at least 25 mil square or 1 inch square material. You want the mass in the bar is the main prerequisite, because if you hit something that doesn't have mass to it, let's say you clamp it to the table and you hit something that doesn't have that extra mass laying on it, it will spin on the table if you're clamping it down to a table, or in the vise, it'll slip and dog nose down, it'll just nose down like that on you. And if you have all that extra mass, now you're trying over a very short lever, you're trying to move a very long lever on the fulcrum point there. And so therefore it resists that greatly and really helps to support the work. So the mass is what you need in the bar. All right. What we got, Jess?
Yes.
We good?
Yeah, we're good. Let's see. Wood Ninja says, Roy, can you make a Halligan bar tool for firefighters sometimes, please? It's kind of specific. I'm not sure if I've heard of one of those before.
I have no clue. What is it called? Halligan bar. What? You'll have to explain what that is, and possibly I could make you one. Yes, possibly. All right, I'm gonna get this set up here on the anvil. I don't know how warm this is. It's still fairly warm, but it's enough that we can get after it here. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and clamp the upper bar. I want to find a place that I can clamp this to the piece. And the reason why we need to clamp it to the piece is so this way we can mark it out for our drilling. I'm going to be able to mark this piece out, make sure it's lined up in the center, and if it's not, you want to go ahead and take the time to get it tapped over. All right, that's centered up there. All right, it's looking good. Then we might flex this over to get it to center. But now I'm going to take a marking pencil, if I can. Here a second. I have a habit with everything falling on the ground. I try to use this anvil as a big, as a big table, and sometimes that's not the best idea. All right. Drawing my mark out in here. Nothing real scientific about that. I'm going to push this back over to where it looks centered. Go ahead and draw my mark around that. Sorry guys, if I had 4 or 5 camera angles, I could bring you in real close or stuff like this, but it's live, so you'll have to deal with it. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, that's going to look real good after it's all said and done. So now that I've got those holes roughly marked, we will see how this goes. If you notice, the holes are already drilled into the scroll work. because that element's not going to be too much movable, right? Like, I mean, you want where this is going to contact the frame in relation to your drawing, that kind of matters, right? On the scrollwork side. Where it contacts the frame specifically doesn't necessarily matter. You know, according to the drawing, you can adjust that around a little bit, right, for squareness, as where you can't as easily adjust for any irregularities in the scrollwork itself. So you want to be able to get that lined up on there by already having your holes drilled in your scroll piece. Then you can go to your main body of your work and go to there. It's a really simple order of operation that is super easy to just bypass and say, I'll just drill my holes into my piece on here and just assume that you'll find the right spot. But oftentimes what will happen is you'll have the bar, you'll drill your hole in your bar, and your scroll will sit like this and your holes won't line up. You won't be nowhere close to being able to put a riveted joint in there. Does that make sense? So if you draw it here first, then you drill through the piece exactly where that hole is contacting the bar, it makes it more accurate that way, and you can be more confident that it will line up and go exactly where you need this thing to match up, line up, and go. So we'll look at that one more time. I think that's going to be pretty good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drill the top bar first, and then probably put my rivet through there, and then reassess where this bottom hole is before I drill it on the main piece and make sure everything's still lining up. So we'll go over to the vise. And we'll really quick over at the vise here, go ahead and get this clamped up. Really quick, go ahead and look for the center-ish and put a center punch mark there. Now, if you all remember, I try not to hide anything here. I did put an original center punch mark on this piece. The problem with that original center punch mark, and I'm going to hate myself, yep, there is, okay, I see one. I'm gonna have to look for the other one. I dropped the rivets earlier on the floor. Okay, I found two. Woo! They didn't get pushed down in the dirt. Good. There was a previous hole, and I'm within about 1/8 inch of it. So I had pre-marked out where I wanted the rivet to be, and I'm within 1/8 inch of it, according to the scroll. Now I can adjust the scroll some more to get it to line up exactly, or I can just go ahead and put that rivet there. 1/8 inch this way or that way is not going to matter. So I'm going to do it here. If it does matter on your project, then go ahead and take the time that you need to make it absolutely perfect. All right, get that lined up. All right, good, nice and square. It's coming down there. Cooled it off a little bit and water that drill bit. Make sure she's staying cool. Comments, Jess?
I shall read some. Let's see here where we're at. Shamrock Forge. Okay, I will. Shamrock Forge had sent a $5 super chat. He says, did I read this one already? He said, just got my stimulus check. Thought I would pass the whole thing on to y'all.
Awesome. Thank you, Shamrock Forge. There we go. Whew. Got that drilled. We'll go ahead and deburr the other side real quick. Throw a countersink in it.
Michael Spikes, yes, Roy has a drill press. It is in the other side of the shop, the fabrication side. So he was trying to do this so you guys could see this part of the process instead of him running off camera.
Exactly. That's what I went back to saying earlier. Hence, this is the problem with doing things live, unfortunately, is that sometimes you don't get to use the tools that are more appropriate for the task, and that in turn affects the way your project ends up looking in the long run. So when I plan out a project for doing a live, I have to plan on that project being able to be started, completed, and finished, the whole kit and caboodle, and whole 9 yards here in the forge. Otherwise, it doesn't make very riveting entertainment for it to not be. Put that in through there. All right.
Todd Good asked what type of drill bits you're using, or that you use in general.
Drill bits I use in general. All right, that'll work out pretty good. I can see this got a bit of a twist to it. That'll take care of itself once I get it riveted. Once I get this end riveted down, and then I push this over to there. That'll work good. That looks good. The type of drill bits I use are just basically cheap ones from Harbor Freight. They're a high-speed steel drill bit. And these here, by the way, if you're wondering, this is going to be 1/4 inch. So that hole's going to line up perfect for what I need, the way I drew it earlier, so that'll be good. And take this loose. This time, open this up and hold it by here. Tighten that down. What we got going on, babe?
I guess I started the chat of what everyone's having for dinner, because Yamez mentioned, if you get the chance later to give him a call, and so I said we had some ham and beans and onions and taters in the crock pot.
Yeah, okay. Tell him if I get the chance, I will. Yamez is still here. I think he is, right? Okay, good. All right, get this put away. Down.
Yamez says, I want to know what bit that was. It went through like butter.
Just a standard steel drill bit. High-speed steel. Another thing is, with high-speed steel drill bits and the like, the pitch matters. Depending on how thick the material is. The pitch up here, the cut of the drill bit matters. I believe these are 118 degree points for cutting steel. And it's Harbor Freight, so probably not 118 degrees. It's supposed to be advertised on the package. But yeah, it's just a standard split point drill bit. Get there to that last little bit there. Pull it off. Another thing, it's all about speed and feed when it comes to this. So this drill going full out is a bad thing for this drill bit. It doesn't need that many RPMs. So you have to kind of adjust it until you start seeing those nice long chips come out. And that's how you have to hold your finger. The next point is to be able to feed it. So you need to put good downward pressure. Since you don't have a drill bit, you can see how I kind of bring my elbow down to pull down on the piece to use my body weight, which helps. Until you get into a situation where it's starting to grab inside the hole. This is a perfect situation to break one of these. We'll go a little higher speed. Clear the chips there. Good to go. Get that bit out. Hopefully that makes sense. Getting good comments about that?
Yeah. Also, Chirpy's Tinkerings, he said hi. Hasn't seen us in a while. Ask how we been.
Uh-oh. Darn machinist. Always so dang particular. Don't look, Chirpy. Don't look. For those of you who don't know the inside joke, Dan Roswood and Chirpy's Tinkerings there came out to my shop and had forged with me for a day. And Chirpy, is being a machinist, he's a very particular person about things being straight or perfectly on center and stuff like that. And so the whole time I was joking with him, don't look, Chirpy, every time I was doing something because I knew it wasn't going to be straight, because I use a lot of kind of like in the air math, in the moment kind of math, like eyeballing it. Like, oh yeah, that's straight. Oh, enough to drive people mad. Like Chirpy. Good to see you, brother. Long time no see. All right, let's see how this fits up now. Doodly doodly doo. That's wrong. Well, it'll fit up a lot better if I use the proper rivet that I had intentioned. All the way through. And that up. Shaboom. Come on.
Oh, earlier, the bar, the fireman's bar they were talking about, they said it's basically a big pry bar for getting open doors.
Yeah, that sounds simple enough. I doubt it would be beyond my skill level, so I could definitely make something like that. All right. Well, here you guys go. This kind of gives you a sense of what we're getting at there. What do you think? Yeah. So obviously this needs to be riveted and peened down. You guys have seen this process. I think this is where I'm going to stop it on this particular project. I need to saw down these rivets and you know, get things set up appropriately to finish this off. And there's a bit of wonkiness in the scrolls here that you guys can't see. We'll go back to the main cam over here. There's a bit of wonkiness in the scrolls that I'm not particularly enjoying right now. There's a little bit of crookedness that I need to straighten up and twist. And again, that's kind of the more of the fiddly bits, but you guys get the point. I showed you how to get this to this point. The next stage is just peening these rivets over. The one on the back side gets a big countersink done to it, so this way it's a flush rivet on the back side with a dome on the top. The one on top, I'm going to actually head up with a riveting tool to head that up like that. Similar to the tools I have showcased before, I did a whole riveting series on rivets in the tooling and all of that good stuff before, and doing this in scrollwork as well, having a top and bottom swedge there. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that there. You guys can watch that video series if you want on the channel. It's in the playlist section, but I wanted to just get it to this point so you guys can see how that comes together to fit that together. What do they think? Look good? Can you see that in front of me okay?
Oh yeah, very nice. Metal Man says very nice.
So.
Eastwick says it's been a great project.
Yeah. So it'll be fun to see what we get into next time we do it. I was thinking about doing eye bolts. I may just do a standard video on that because I know I'll get asked and pestered to death about it if I do it in a live stream and never do a video. I may show you how to make eye bolts for this at some other point in the rest of the sign itself. You know, I might do that in a video, bit of a video series around it, but we'll have to see where that goes. Unless they want to see it in a live stream at some point in time, and we can make that next week's live stream. Making eye bolts for the sign bracket. The saga continues. Yeah. But not bad for what, 4 weeks, 6 weeks? How long have we been working on this?
3, I think.
3 weeks?
I think so. Yeah.
3 or 4 weeks?
Or 3 or 4. Well.
At 2 hours each?
Yeah.
Yep. So, not bad. So what is that? If it was 4 times 2, I mean, that's 8 hours. You know, if it was four live streams, you know, times 2 hours each, it's 8 hours. So not bad for an 8 to 10 hour project, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, not bad at all.
Again, that's kind of like a day's worth of work in my shop. You know, I could create something like this in a day to this point. Obviously, there's going to be more work in the finish work, but there you have it. When I do get this done, I will have finished photos of it on Instagram. I'll try to do a community post as well here on YouTube just to show that finished product. And then this will also be available for sale over our website once I get finished photography and things like that of this piece. When we get it all said and done, you guys can say like, hey, I know that guy. He made that in a live stream. So if there's any interest. But like I said, right now, the artist in me, and since this is going on my shop, in my shop, things have got to be perfect for me. They just have to be. So I can't let some of the things, some of the little issues I'm seeing go. I need to fix those before I make it a completed piece. Hopefully everybody can understand that in the comment section, but it's just part about trying to do your best and eventually become a master smith someday. You don't get there by putting out haphazard ironwork. That's for sure. So there we go. Thank you guys so much for all the super chats and everything else. I think it's time to give away that anvil. What do you think? I'm trying to find a good place to put this. I'm going to set it right here. Yeah, super chats. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Yes. Let's see. We had 10 Australian dollars from Techronmatic. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tekron.
Also, Joshua Drum with $9.99, who says, sorry I'm late, but better late than ever. LOL. Glad to see y'all.
Glad to see you. You're just right in time for the anvil giveaway. I've got to move this secondary camera down.
You do. And last of all was Joel Sims with the super sticker of a mustache.
Mustache. Thank you, Joel Sims. Oh, ooh, we're on 1 bar on our audio, so that's good. Right on time then, ain't I?
Yes.
Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you all so much for the super chats. Don't you all love my pretty sign? You all make it so much prettier with color. Go to camera number 2, Jessica.
Dun, 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 dun. Hey, nice.
There it is.
There should be.
Boom. There's a little Chayo anvil. Now this is staying in my shop, but I will be sending one from the manufacturer straight to your home if you are the lucky winner. There it is, a 30 kilogram Chayo, or 66 pounds roughly, thereabouts. Anvil. That's what you'll be getting. It'll most likely be the terrible color blue, but if you like the color blue, why not? It'll be your anvil. You can choose whatever you want. Whatever tickles your fancy. But yeah, I've did a whole video series on this, mounting it, the whole stump and everything. If you guys want to check that out, that greatly helps us during this time, especially considering everybody and their cousin is putting out videos now, and there's more and more things to watch, so there's less and less views to go around. So just thank you guys for those who are watching our content. We greatly appreciate it that do that. And any old series that you want to pick up and take a look at, those are very helpful as well. So, all right, this is bleeping. This is on its last leg. They can hear me,
Okay,
right?
now they can.
Sorry, guys.
Yes, they should be able to hear you. Roy says sorry.
That's the Lord's way of telling me to shut up and let you all go. So give away the anvil already. All right, we're going to go ahead and ring the anvil. Hope somebody who needs it wins it. Thank you all so much for being here with us. We're going to go ahead and give away the 66 pounder. Let's see who wins. Remember, you got to type in the phrase.
You do.
Can't just be a me.
They're working on it.
Or a hey. All right, set.
Oh, that's right. I gotta stop tapping it. It's a habit. Yes, we're on. We're on. Jeffrey Walker, you won the Anvil. Congratulations.
All right, I'll go to Jessica's camp now. Is her mic on? Your mic on?
My mic is on.
Hey there, ladies and gents.
Should I make it bigger?
No.
Okay.
No, you shouldn't make
Right
it
in the corner.
All right. Well, congratulations, Jeffrey Walker, for winning the Anvil. Thank you very much for being here. You got to get with us in the contact section in the description down below. And I'll just say that again. Don't go spamming the Facebook and the Instagram and going all over the place like that. There's a contact link for a reason. That's where you guys need to go to contact us. So please do so. Thank you all for being here. Greatly appreciate it. This is weird, huh?
It is, yeah. Get close.
Hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
This isn't weird at all, is it?
No, no, it might be a little awkward for them,
Do
but
you think this is awkward for them?
yeah,
See her blushing.
they probably
They
can't. The
can't.
camera's too blown out.
It's too blown out from the light. I can turn.
Oh, okay.
See her.
There we
Is it
go.
better?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you see her blushing now? Oh. All right, cool. So thank you all once again. Thank you for all the super chats. God bless each and every last one of you. Thank you for coming in here. And yeah, can't say enough. Thank you. You all have been great. We will see what next month's live stream will be. That'll
Yes.
be May 8th.
Yep.
Right?
Links down in the description if you want to set a notification and set your calendar and all that good jazz.
Yep. So, all right. That's it. God bless everyone. Have a great week. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.